Jing Li meets with the ally in a remote location. The atmosphere is tense. This is a risky move, but it's one they must take. The ally, an ex-member of Mr. Q's operation, is reluctant to speak, but after some careful persuasion, they reveal critical information. They tell Jing Li that Mr. Q has retreated to a secluded location in the mountains, far from any city. It's the perfect hideout, surrounded by loyal followers and heavily protected. Jing Li thanks the ally and makes his way to the mountains. The journey is long and treacherous, and Jing Li knows that time is running out. Mr. Q is not only dangerous but also highly resourceful. He'll be prepared for anything. But Jing Li is determined to end this, no matter what it takes. As he arrives at the base of the mountain, Jing Li steels himself for the final push. The last leg of the battle is ahead, and he knows that this confrontation could decide everything. He takes a deep breath, knowing there's no turning back now. Mr. Q will soon face the consequences of his actions, and Jing Li is ready to bring the man down for good. Jing Li arrives at the base of the mountain, ready for the final confrontation with Mr. Q. The air is thick with anticipation. He knows that this is the endgame, the moment he's been working for, and he can't afford to make a mistake. The mountain path is narrow and treacherous, but Jing Li's determination pushes him forward. There's no turning back now. As he moves deeper into the mountain range, Jing Li remains alert, carefully observing every movement and sound. His mind is focused solely on one thing: finding Mr. Q. The further he goes, the more he senses the danger surrounding him. The area is heavily guarded, with traps set along the path and lookout points high above. He pauses for a moment, considering his options. The mountain hideout is well protected, and Mr. Q has clearly anticipated that someone might come after him. Jing Li knows that brute force won't work here. He needs to be smart and strategic, using everything he's learned to outsmart Mr. Q's forces. After some time, Jing Li finally spots a small entrance hidden behind rocks. It's the perfect opportunity to slip past the guards unnoticed. He moves quickly, making his way into the heart of Mr. Q's hideout. Inside, the atmosphere is tense and quiet. The walls are lined with weapons and the remnants of Mr. Q's criminal empire. As Jing Li moves deeper into the hideout, he comes face to face with Mr. Q's most loyal followers. A fierce battle erupts, with both sides exchanging fire. Jing Li fights with everything he has, his determination unwavering. But just as it seems like the end is near, Mr. Q's men retreat deeper into the hideout, and Jing Li is left in a momentary standoff. Jing Li's pulse races. This is it, the final confrontation with the man who has caused so much suffering. He knows that Mr. Q is close, and he won't let this opportunity slip away. He pushes forward, determined to finish what he started. In the shadows of the hideout, Mr. Q watches from a distance. He knows Jing Li is coming for him, but he's ready. The showdown is inevitable. Jing Li's heart pounds as he pushes forward deeper into Mr. Q's hideout. The silence is eerie, broken only by the distant echoes of his footsteps. He's close, now closer than ever before, to capturing the man who has evaded him for so long. But the closer he gets to his target, the more dangerous things become. The hideout is like a labyrinth, with narrow hallways and dark corners. Jing Li moves cautiously, his senses heightened, fully aware that Mr. Q could be hiding anywhere. As he advances, he encounters more of Mr. Q's loyal men, each one more ruthless than the last. He fights with precision, using his knowledge and experience to take them down one by one. But each victory feels hollow, knowing that Mr. Q is still somewhere ahead, waiting. Jing Li's thoughts are focused solely on the mission. He can't afford to let his guard down, not even for a second. With each corner he turns, he grows more tense, aware that Mr. Q is likely watching his every move. The tension in the air is almost unbearable as Jing Li inches closer to his enemy. Then, in a flash, Jing Li spots him. Mr. Q, the man who has been a shadow in his life, pulling strings from the darkness, now stands before him. There's no escape, no more running. The time for hiding is over. Mr. Q sneers at Jing Li, his cold eyes betraying no emotion. "So you've finally found me," he says, his voice low and mocking. "But it's too late. You'll never win." Jing Li steps forward, his resolve unwavering. This is the moment he's been preparing for. "You're finished, Mr. Q," he says, his voice steady. "You can run, but you can't hide anymore." The air crackles with tension as the two men stare each other down. The final showdown is about to begin. Suddenly, Mr. Q pulls out a weapon, an automatic gun, pointing it straight at Jing Li. But before he can fire, Jing Li takes action, moving with lightning speed to disarm him. A fierce struggle ensues, both men fighting with everything they have. It's a battle of wills. Jing Li's determination to end this once and for all against Mr. Q's desperate need to survive. The fight is brutal, but Jing Li refuses to back down. With a final, decisive move, he overpowers Mr. Q, taking him to the ground and securing his capture. Jing Li stands over Mr. Q, breathing heavily, the weight of the moment sinking in. The man who had caused so much pain is finally in his grasp. But even as victory feels sweet, Jing Li knows that the battle has been long, and the cost has been high. Mr. Q is defeated, but Jing Li's journey is far from over. This victory is only the beginning of a new chapter. With Mr. Q finally captured, Jing Li breathes a sigh of relief. The tension that has plagued him for so long begins to fade, but a new feeling takes its place: uncertainty. The victory is hard-earned, but the consequences of Mr. Q's actions still loom large. His criminal empire has caused immeasurable harm, and Jing Li knows that bringing him to justice is only the first step in cleaning up the mess. As Jing Li secures Mr. Q and prepares to leave the hideout, he reflects on the long journey that has led him here. It wasn't just about bringing down a criminal, it was about stopping a man who had terrorized innocent lives for too long. But even as Jing Li thinks about the lives Mr. Q ruined, he knows there's still more to be done. The damage can't be undone in one day. Jing Li decides to call for backup. His team is on their way to assist with the arrest, but the task of dismantling Mr. Q's entire organization will take time and effort. There are still many members of Mr. Q's network out there, and the authorities need to be ready to move quickly. As Jing Li waits for his team to arrive, he begins to think about his next steps. His life has been consumed by this mission for so long, and now that it's over, he feels a strange emptiness. He's never been one to relax or take time off, but the weight of the past few months has taken its toll. Jing Li wonders if he'll ever truly be able to let go of the constant pressure, or if this mission will haunt him for the rest of his life. Just as he's lost in thought, Liang arrives with a few of their trusted team members. Together, they take Mr. Q into custody, ensuring that he's transported safely to face the justice he deserves. The team is silent as they make their way back to the city, the weight of the situation still heavy on their shoulders. Later, when they arrive at the police station, Jing Li watches as Mr. Q is taken away to be interrogated. The feeling of finality is bittersweet. He's done what he set out to do, but the sense of relief is marred by the realization that this battle was just one chapter in a much larger war. As the night falls, Jing Li reflects on everything he's been through: the struggles, the pain, the losses, and the victories. He knows that the road ahead is still uncertain, but for now, he's content knowing that he has brought justice to those who needed it most. His mission is over, but the future remains wide open. After Mr. Q's capture, life slowly begins to return to normal for Jing Li, though the shadows of his past linger. As much as he tries to focus on moving forward, the memories of the long, intense pursuit still haunt him. He can't shake the feeling that something isn't quite right, that there's more to this than just the end of Mr. Q's reign. Jing Li takes some time off, something he hasn't allowed himself in a long while. He spends a few quiet days at home, away from the constant pressure and dangers of his work. It's a rare moment of peace. And yet, Jing Li finds himself restless. He's always been driven by a sense of purpose, and without that mission, he feels adrift. The stillness in his life now feels almost unsettling. One afternoon, while reflecting on his next steps, he receives an unexpected call. It's from an old contact, a former ally, who had been involved in a case years ago. They inform him that something strange has surfaced, something linked to Mr. Q's network that no one had anticipated. A new player has emerged in the criminal world, someone even more dangerous than Mr. Q, and their reach extends far beyond what anyone could have imagined. Jing Li listens intently, his heart racing as the details unfold. This isn't over. The victory over Mr. Q may have closed one chapter, but a new threat has risen from the ashes, and it's far more complex and elusive than anything he's faced before. His instincts tell him this is only the beginning of a much larger problem. Determined to get to the bottom of this new mystery, Jing Li reconnects with his team and begins his investigation anew. But as he digs deeper, he realizes how much he's changed over the course of this journey. He's not the same person who first took on Mr. Q, and the stakes have never been higher. Jing Li knows he can't do this alone, and with the help of his trusted allies, he prepares to face whatever comes next. The hunt isn't over, and this time, the danger feels even more imminent. As the chapter closes, Jing Li looks out the window, a sense of uncertainty and resolve in his eyes. He's ready for the next challenge, knowing that his fight is far from finished. Jing Li's mind races as he processes the new information. The sudden emergence of a more powerful criminal force leaves him uneasy. What had seemed like a victory over Mr. Q is quickly overshadowed by the shadow of this new threat. Jing Li knows that to protect the people and stop the chaos from spreading, he must act quickly. After meeting with his team, they begin mapping out the connections between this new figure in the criminal world and Mr. Q's old network. The mysterious figure seems to have taken advantage of the chaos left behind after Mr. Q's fall, quickly rising to power. With each new lead they uncover, the danger becomes more evident. This is not just another gang, it's a well-organized, highly skilled group with resources that could be catastrophic if left unchecked. Jing Li digs deeper into the criminal underworld, following every lead, even those that seem like dead ends. His exhaustion is starting to show, but he can't afford to rest. With every hour that passes, the threat grows larger. The mysterious figure, known only as the Phantom, remains elusive, almost as if they're always one step ahead of Jing Li. In his search for answers, Jing Li reconnects with some old allies, former informants who might have knowledge of this new player. It's a risky move, reaching out to people from his past, but he knows it's necessary. one of his informants, an ex-criminal with ties to underground groups, offers a lead. The Phantom has connections in the city's most powerful circles, making them nearly